shooting down in the woods. He wouldn't leave it even if he could. 'Cause life is good, yeah!
Hickok45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, the home of Alvin York and Dolly Parton. Oh, can't ever forget about those two, can we? Yes, it's wintertime still. It's February, and finally we might have a little hope, a little light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that's probably the case for where many of you live. And, unless you're in Southern California or Florida or somewhere. But it has been unusually cold this winter. Has been a long winter. And, we've made several videos this winter, in the cold weather. And you've seen some of them. We'll see some more of them posted probably. We have a variety of videos always in the queue that we've done the last few weeks or even months sometimes. It's the foliage or the weather pretty much I guess betrays when some of them were done, but once they're up for a few weeks, that's irrelevant. Of course, it's you folks that follow the channel religiously, and we appreciate it, that notice that more so than others, of course, as you're just looking for a video on the XDM or something. You could care less when it was actually posted or what the weather was and that sort of thing generally. But good thing we had some videos, because there were just a lot of weeks this winter where we just could not get out, or John was sick for about a week once. I was a little under the weather, I guess, last week, but it didn't really stop me from doing videos. I never did feel really that bad. Hopefully that's the worst I get this year. And just a little bit of a cold, and I still have a little bit of a hoarse cough, I guess you'd say, but I never did really get to feeling really bad or have a fever or anything like that. But the weather has just been horrible. And then we had our trip out west, and with Christmas and just a lot going on. There are weeks where it's really almost impossible to do anything video wise, and we went 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and we didn't really get much done at all. And we know that going into the winter and in the fall when the weather's nice, and we have firearms and we just do videos. As I have spoken before about, it's rather random in a way. We will have firearms offered, come buy certain firearms. I might trade into some firearm, or I might even buy some firearm. Some firearms are coming out from some of the companies where I get T&E guns that I want to do. We may just be inundated with different firearms, for some months or whatever, and then we'll have a kind of a lull period, which is nice. Just do some other things that we want to do, some chapter 2s or chapter 3s or chapter 10s, or do some things, or take a little break or whatever. But we usually have some things we've done, and so we keep a video going up or two every week. Whenever it was done, even if it was done in 1943, right? So we're supposed to get a little break in the weather, I think, here coming up this next week, and I look forward to that. Have not been on my Harley for, about 3 weeks ago, I think. I got in a short ride, but I'm just anxious to get out on the farm and enjoy the place, the compound. So it's rough. I tell you, we're used to in Tennessee. I know if you live north of here, up in Minnesota or somewhere, Michigan, you would laugh at the weather that we have and how we act in Tennessee as if it's rough weather. But we're spoiled in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. We get some pretty balmy days all through the year. It's typically it's nothing for us to have a day in December, January, occasionally where it's 50 and 60 degrees, maybe a couple of days. Then it goes back down into the 40s and 30s maybe. But then it'll be 50, a high of 50 one day, high of 40 the next. And so you kind of go on and do whatever you want to do. You don't really have to prepare for the harsh cold very often in Middle Tennessee, but until this year. So we've had a little change of pace this year. So what are we going to talk about? I don't really know. Let's talk about this can of Ballistol or something sitting here. No, actually I have a firearm. So let's look at this. Now I know you're not going to know what this is. Other than it sounds like a semi-auto, doesn't it? Put a magazine in it. I'm going to snap the trigger. Ooh, people hate to see that, don't they? Click. Well, as I've said before, I don't really want a firearm that I cannot snap the trigger on, at least occasionally, because it's of no use to me. That's how I verify it's empty. This is a Springfield, of all things, XDS. Whoa, really, Hickok? That's new. Well, actually, this one is new. It's the 4-inch model. It's the 4.0, the XDS 9 4.0. You might have seen that was coming, and got my hands on one. Had some requests to get my hands on one. Saw it at the SHOT Show, and I'm not sure I was aware they were doing it until I saw it at the SHOT Show. And what do I think about it? I don't know. I'm going to do a video, of course, maybe in a day or two we'll get together, shoot it up, and maybe compare with the 3.3 and shoot both of them, shoot this one, let you know what I think about it. And I really thought it was kind of okay, why'd they do this? One of those deals. What was this for? But, it's an interesting gun. I think it's probably a pistol some people are going to like. There's something about it I kind of like. I can't decide what it is. I did shoot a couple of magazines when I got it yesterday. And, of course, it shoots fine. And I went ahead and put the Talon grips on it. With this short grip, I especially, I got to have some friction on there, get some rubber. I've really gone to the rubber on the Talon grips. I know I kind of swore by the granulate, as they call it, the sandpaper grips for years. That's what led me to them early on, and to those grips. But I have gravitated towards the rubber, partly because I got to where I was using it so much on my pocket pistols, and then just decided, that is fine. I get a good grip with that, much better than, of course, the stock grips. And I don't get the rubbing against things, wearing holes in my pocket or my T-shirt, or also rubbing against, you sit down on a couch or something, you don't damage furniture and all that. In your car, my Element, I had to replace the seat, redo the seat in that once because of just the firearm rubbing against the seat. Oh, can you imagine wearing a firearm while you're sitting in a car? And it was partly the grips, of course. And I just decided I'm going to switch to rubber. I'm switching gradually. All of my pistols that I carry, really, I'm going over to the rubber, I think. I've not switched over to some of the big Glocks and things that I don't necessarily carry inside the waistband and that kind of thing. Just carry around the farm. If I were going to shoot in a match, I don't know. I might stick with the sandpaper, the granulate. You get just I don't know. You could estimate another 10% friction or something. You get an incredible grip, of course. I mean, incredible. It bothers some people's hands. They don't like it. It feels rough. It feels fine to me, and I get an unbelievable grip on the firearm with the granulate. But I get a really nice grip even with the rubber. So I've decided to go with that. So got the rubber Talons on it, and the one they sent me, Springfield did, is a two-tone. It's got the the stainless slide finish. And I have to say, it's a good-looking gun. It really is. And I know it's going to be a good shooter. And it's got a decent trigger. And the the big question, as always, is not, is there anything wrong with this gun? It's a really nice pistol, 9mm. It's a little thinner than a Glock 19. It's a little bit smaller, in the grip and everything. It's not a whole lot of difference, but it's a little bit smaller than a Glock 19. It shoots 9mm, and is a good shooter, good trigger, striker fired. So, what about it? Well, it all comes down to where does the pistol fit, doesn't it? Is this one you're going to wear in a holster? I think you are. I don't think this one's going to be very suitable for pocket carry. And then where are you going to carry it? In a holster, what kind of holster? Outside the waistband, inside the waistband, or are you going to carry it? And all those questions have to be answered. That's what it really comes down to when you're selecting a carry gun or a pistol, period. What the heck are you going to do with it? Where's it going to be? That's the reason I really can't answer. What pistol should I buy, Hickok? I'm new to guns. What pistol do you recommend? Can't really recommend one. Don't know what you're going to do with it, and don't know your history and all that. And it really does come down to whether it's going in a holster and whether it's going in maybe even whether it's going into an inside the waistband holster, and what you're going to be wearing when you wear that pistol, and what's your daily dress, what's your job, what's your attire, and all that kind of thing. What's your tolerance for a larger pistol? How much weight are you going to be able to withstand in a pistol? And if you don't carry yet, don't even know that. That's what complicates it even further, doesn't it? Or if you've not carried very much, you don't even know. Believe me, I don't say that from arrogance. I say that from experience, because I'm always looking for something better in carry. And you think you're going to carry some big old heavy gun just because you found a holster that it will handle it and you put it on that feels okay. Okay, but how's it feel 2 hours later? And how's it feel when you get in and out of the car or truck and ride in the car or truck for a couple hours? Just all your daily activities. How does it work for you? Can you carry a firearm that large? Does it get in the way? Is it inconvenient? Do you need to take your jacket off occasionally, or whatever cover garment that you are wearing that might be covering that firearm? There are just numerous questions, and you really almost cannot answer them 100%, even yourself, until you have really gone through it and you've gone through the experience of it. And anybody who's carried for 2, 3, 4 years, I will tell you the same thing. That's not me being a genius or anything. It's just from experience. We all figure that stuff out. And I can't tell you how many times I have come across a firearm I just really liked and wanted to, man, that might be my carry gun, or that size Glock might be my new carry Glock or carry gun, whatever. But as you experiment with holsters and carrying it, you drift back to something else because it was more convenient or lighter, smaller, or whatever. So it all comes down to all that. But there are lots of pistols that are just great pistols. This is probably one of them. And it's just a matter of where it fits in or where it might fit in your routine and your mode of operation, is what it comes down to. But anyway, I'm anxious to shoot that some more. It really is a good-looking pistol. I like just a plain old black gun, obviously. All the firearms I have. But there is something kind of cool about the stainless or the polished nickel or whatever, brushed nickel, I'm trying to say, over a black frame. It has kind of a nice look to it. Maybe it's just because it was different is the reason it appeals to me. And this gun, I don't know. So anyway, I got that gun out here. I have another firearm out here too. What did I do with it? Here it is. And this is a firearm. You've not seen this yet. This is a firearm we had lent to us. Got a folding stock. Ooh, locks in. It's a piston gun. Lock that stock back open. Work the bolt. See, every one of you figured that out, didn't you? Nah, no reason to really, but it's a SIG 556, the SWAT model, the classic SWAT model, quad rail. Pretty cool, I tell you. I don't know when we'll post this, but we did one video with it yesterday or day before, and it is a sweet shooting rifle. Has a nice trigger, and it's a little on the heavy side, of course, more so than an AR in terms of the forward weight, and where it's a piston gun. I mean, when you pull the trigger, you you almost think you had a dud or a squib load, although you hear it, because it just doesn't move. Not that a 5.56, actually kicks or recoils anyway, but it really just sits there. I mean, boy, I had never fired one of these things and never owned one. Held one in a gun shop a time or two, I think when they came out, the SIG 5.56, and wanted to kind of like them a little, because I think back when I was deciding I might want something different in an AR, as a, not to switch out, but as something just different in addition to what I had. When I was looking around at some of the different things like the SCAR, and I looked at picked up a SIG 5.5, I guess it was this gun, but not in the SWAT configuration, in a gun shop, and shouldered it. The stock seemed a little short to me, but I kind of liked the gun. Didn't know a lot about it at the time, but I've since learned more. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'll ever end up with one myself. This is a borrowed firearm, but these are really nice. They really are. They're basically, they're based on the 550 that the Swiss use. And there's hardly anybody who has anything negative to say about that rifle. The Swiss 550, SIG 550, and 551, I guess, the shorter version of it. Extremely reliable and accurate. They're basically kind of an improved AK design in a lot of ways, with some AR features. But you'll see it in a video, and some of you probably have them. Wonderful rifle, just a wonderful rifle. It shoots so well. I think we're going to hang on to it a couple more days and do a chapter 2 with it. That's one reason I haven't given it a final cleaning and tried to get it back to the owner. I think I'm going to try that on the chapter 2 hillside over there. I believe with that trigger, I can pop those little challenging targets, at least challenging for me sometimes. I think I can pop those things. We'll see. Sure as I say that, I'll sling a lot of lead into the grass, but we'll try it out. Hope you guys can hear the strange sounds coming out of the propane heater I've got back here going on. Like I said, it is cold. When I come out the reloading room, I've got a propane heater or two, some different types I crank up just to take the chill off out here. They're not too loud, but you might hear some of one of those. But my dedication goes only so far. I am not going to stand in the cold just to talk to you strange people. By the way, thanks to the folks who bid on the Chris target that we posted on eBay, and that sold, and nice contribution, over $400 to the food bank and everything. So that was appreciated, and anybody who bid on it, not just the person that ended up with it, because anybody that places a bid, has their heart in the right place, and they're wanting to get something from the range and support a good cause and all that kind of thing. And we're glad to do that. We need to do that more often. I keep saying that. Take advantage of the size of our audience out there, and do some good works. We want to do that as long as we can. We may have to at some point put that towards ammo. I don't know, but while we can, while Google is helping to fund our project, we want to take advantage of that and direct some of those resources, your resources, to a good cause. Not that ammo is not a good cause, and guns, and everything we're doing, hopefully. But we appreciate the folks that bid on those. We'll try to do that more often, not all the time, but just take advantage of our large audience, and feel guilty if we don't, to tell you the truth. I wish I could do more with, because I know there are a lot of people that would like to have something, from the range, or that kind of thing, and something I stick in the mail or whatever it is, and I just don't. There's a bit of a, I guess you'd call it it's an incongruence. There's a lot of people watching us, and that are clued in to what's going on, and loyal followers of the channel. As you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands and everything, and which is great, and it enables us to do what we're doing. But but it's weird. I mean, it's almost like the big time, in some ways, is what I'm getting at. But yet we're small time. It's just John and me, and me trying to keep up with the mail in my life, and the videos, and all the other things going on. The compound. So I can't. In fact, the mail is getting out of hand. At some point, I'm just not going to be able to answer the mail. I've been saying that for years, and it's I'm getting close to where that is not going to be doable. It looks like, but we are small time. It's just whatever I have time to do, and I basically work all day. I say work. It's a labor of love, on this project, and so. What I'm getting at is, I'd like to be able to just send out things. They might want it like a signed target or something, and not have to put it on eBay like that. And if I can handle the numbers, because I know there are several people, obviously from the people that bid and the requests I get, that would like to have something like that. And if I could clone myself, I could have Hickok45 2 and Hickok45 3. Just sitting somewhere and signing targets and folding them up, putting them in envelopes, addressing them and stamping them, and taking them to the post office and mailing them to our loyal fans. That's, for just the cost of the postage and the targets, or $5 or something. That'd be great. I just can't do it. Wish I could. So we stick something on eBay occasionally, and we need to do that more often. So. And what else was I going to say about that? I guess nothing. So I'll shut up. Well, I know what I was going to get into again. How it is. We are kind of small time in terms of just being able to handle things, because again it's just little old me and then John helping out, But in other ways, it is getting bigger times simply because of you guys, the audience, and a lot of the emails I'm getting are not just from you guys; it's from companies with offers of all sorts, wanting videos on this and that, you name it. And a lot of it are things, I may have talked about this before, things we just don't really do. I mean, they might be shooting related, but they're things that are not a part of my shooting experience, really, and they're not necessarily something that I think that you all are dying to see. I don't know. Sometimes maybe some of them are, but it's just a rash of offers, coming in about all sorts of things, and then some of them are things that are, potentially, something that would be, good for the channel, good for you all. Good for us, and it's just hard to evaluate a lot of it, and and of course we get offers for advertisements and different things, opportunities for financial gain. Imagine that, but things we just don't really want to do, in videos, really. And I know we're crazy. Gosh. We could be pulling in some serious cash probably, but we don't want to turn the thing into just strictly a commercial endeavor. We don't want to do that. Maybe particularly from gun companies, because there you go. If we're running Smith & Wesson ads, on the videos, then whatever little piece of credibility I have, is going to be in jeopardy, right? So that would be good, though. I mean, that's what they do in the gun magazines and on the cable shows. That's what's funny, really, isn't it? But that would be great. Have a big ad running for Smith & Wesson or in a video, and then be comparing a Smith & Wesson, with a Glock or something in that video. Doesn't do a lot for credibility. But anyway, so we have to turn all that down. There's things I can't even tell you about that, I wonder about some things we've turned down. But I don't know, maybe somewhere down the road we can take advantage of the size of the channel and our audience without jeopardizing that. I don't know. It'd be nice. People are always telling us we need our own show, our own cable show, we need a reality show, we need this and that, or so-and-so ought to be paying you, but really, people don't want that when you get right down to it, right? So we're going to try to keep it simple, keep it the way it is, and if there is a way down the road, once we have 1 million subscribers, to take advantage of some of the size, without going on cable TV and without doing something stupid and turning it into something crazy, and fund it better, maybe so, but it will not be anything that jeopardizes what little credibility I might have, right? Because just don't really need to, don't really want to change things, no matter how much pressure there is, to do that. So anyway, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. That's the bottom line there. It's about it. Again, the bigger you get, the more people want to steal your videos. I appreciate y'all helping me. I've put out the word there to try to help me on that. Not so much to let me know about it, but any way you can report it, let them know, whoever the thief is, and whoever might be watching it over there, that they're taking away from our channel. If it's just like the music business or anything else, if it gets to the point where people aren't coming to our YouTube channel to see our videos, we'll quit making videos. I mean, if it slows down, we'll slow down making them. That's just the way the world is, and anybody with common sense realizes that. So, and I appreciate y'all's help with that, because YouTube right now is where we are located, and that's where our loyalty lies right now. They're the ones who support what we're doing and make it possible, and so, we appreciate y'all coming to our videos on YouTube, and, anybody that supports stolen videos or people who steal videos, it doesn't say much for them, and I know that you guys would not do that. So anyway, I appreciate your help with that. Let those characters know that they are pretty much off the grid, and they're not anybody's going to ever respect. That's still just beyond me. I mean, think of the nerve of that. I mean, it's just beyond the pale, isn't it? I mean, there's probably nobody listening to this that would do that, right? And so you can relate to what I'm trying to imagine. I mean, going into YouTube and finding a video. Oh, there's a cool video. I'm trying to get a channel going here. I'll just take that one that those people produced and put it on my channel. Yeah, there you go. Now, it's one thing to link to somebody's video or favorite somebody's video. You link to it. That's fine, of course. We love that. But it's just amazing to rip down somebody's video and then repost it. Beyond the pale, beyond the pale. What else was I going to gab about? Boy, we've got some guns. I guess you have not seen, because we've not posted them yet. I don't know how familiar you are with the Sphinx pistols, but you'll be getting some information on those in some future videos, a couple, that I was not all that aware of them. Chris imports the Sphinx, the SDP. Then they sent that along with the carbines, in fact. So we've got a video coming on that. But they are high quality Swiss-made pistols, and I was not all that familiar. I have to tell you, till I did some research, and then a friend of mine has one of their competition pistols, the 3000, that's several years old, and that's kind of where these newer ones, the SDP series, grows out of, that Chris is importing, and they're not cheap. They're, what are the, I forget what the MSRP is. They're over $1,000, okay, and but they're really sweet pistols. That little on the heavy side maybe for a carry pistol, or more of a duty pistol. I don't know, but anyway, you'll be seeing those. I've got the one still in there in the safe. I'm trying to get back to Chris, get a shipping tag, and get all their stuff back to him. But that one was pretty nice. And then the one we borrowed from a friend, when I told him that I had one of these STPs, and I've got the 3000, compete with it, do 3-gun matches and all this stuff. Oh, really? And he said, you want to borrow it for the video? I said, I guess not. Then the more I thought about it, I contacted him and said, you still want to lend that to me? I think that might be interesting for the viewers to see the ancestry of these Sphinx pistols, and then so we did. We just showed it in the video, and then we actually did another video with it. And oh man, if you ever get a chance to shoot one of these Sphinx pistols, well, any of them, but this competition model, this 3000, and then there was a 2000 model also. But oh boy, the trigger is heavenly, and has just the whole configuration, the quality of it. Now those things sell for about $2,500 or $3,000, so you probably have not encountered one too often at the range or anything. But and this one that my buddy has, he has over 120,000 rounds through it that he and other people have put through it. And I mean, you could look at that gun, you wouldn't know it had more than 5,000 through it, and it just feels great. Love to have it. I mean, I'm not big on competition pistols, but it's not some crazy looking thing. Some of these competition guns you see with stock that's molded to your hand, and you might see in the Olympics or something. It's nothing like that. It's just a little bit larger than I would want, but for obviously carry or something. But man, is it a sweet shooting firearm. But the Sphinx, if you don't know anything about those, the same old deal. The Swiss, leave it to them. It seems like I keep encountering more and more firearms from Switzerland, and I wonder if they make anything that is junk over there. Have they ever made anything in Switzerland that was junk? we need to find. That's what I need to do. I need to do a video, a review of something the Swiss have made that we all know is junk. Just to humble them a little bit. It seems like everything that comes out of there is just well made and well put together and ingenious or something. So anyway, you let me know if you know something that's junk, and we'll do a review, even if it's a I don't know what, a carburetor or something for a motorcycle. We'll just do a review on it and point out how crappy it is. How's that? Because we're too complimentary of them. What else was I going to yak about? Well, one thing comes to mind is that we want to, and I forget because things have been going pretty well in most parts of the country lately, but not everywhere. And that is, of course, the gun rights issue and preserving our freedoms and supporting the Second Amendment. We know what goes on in California and Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York. Those folks are fighting for their lives up there, their Second Amendment lives in those places. And we just got to stay on task, and whenever we get the opportunity to speak to our representatives, and of course making the opportunity, but especially face to face, if they're doing a town meeting or anything, speaking up for the Second Amendment, letting them know they're not going to be back in office, because we're always about one news cycle away from starting that same cycle, that same trend losing some rights. The minute some wacko does commit some horrible act, there we go again. And how many of those can we fight off? How many crazies are there, in the country? We know there are a few, and we know there are lots and lots of quote unquote gun-free zones, don't we? Those safe zones where we all feel so much safer, don't we? I mean, I can't think of any place where I feel safer than in a mall, a shopping mall, or a theater, or a hospital, or a school. Those are such incredibly safe places. Nobody ever gets hurt there, right? Because they're gun-free zones. So, we don't know when it's going to happen, but it will. It's just the nature of life. There are going to be crazy people, and we cannot let them jeopardize what this country stands for. The Constitution, the Second Amendment. Life is not perfect. Life is messy. Things are going to happen. It's just the way it is. We're not going to stop driving our cars on the road just because. I mean, it is sad, but people are going to be killed and mangled today as I speak. The 40, 50 minutes time that I spend rambling about meaningless things here on the radio, on the tube, during that time period. I guess we can assume there will be probably several people in this country horribly dismembered, mangled, killed, crushed, on the highways. And, if we could put pictures up of those 6 or 7 people, right? They're killed this afternoon, horribly mangled, heads crushed. I guarantee you that's happening as I speak. Well, we can't stop driving. We can't stop our lives. We can't give up our freedom to move about as we really need to and we want to in this country because of that. Right? We can't stop the world. It's going to happen. My gosh, somebody's probably being killed by a wolf somewhere in the world today. Things just happen. Horrible things happen. And I don't want those horrible things happening to me if I have a chance to prevent it, right? You either. So we've got to maintain our rights, our Second Amendment rights, and it's not going to ever be a perfect world. But boy, it's a lot closer to it if we have the means to protect ourselves. And not only, of course, from the evil that men do out there, but the evil that our politicians would possibly, some of them, like to do. And so all we have to do is study history. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist, reactionary, some kind of backwoods redneck. That's all silliness. That's the way the far, far left radicals, anti-freedom folks would like to paint gun owners. But all you have to do is study history a little bit and see what the tendency is for those in power, right? And when a citizenry, try to say it here, is armed, that is much less likely to happen. Okay, enough on that. But let's stay vigilant and keep after our politicians, because that battle never ends. It never ends. Supporting our gun rights organizations, the one you choose, whichever that is, your state organizations, and just keep fighting the good fight, because what happens in California drifts across the country, over time. So we don't want to let that happen. There's a lot of new folks out there, new to our channel, new to firearms, and you may have not been involved politically at all in your life. You may even get sick of politics, and like a lot of people do, and don't want to even think about it. You don't understand it all, don't trust politicians maybe, so you just sort of block that out of your mind. But maybe in the last year or two, you've gotten into firearms, bought your first pistol, rifle, shotgun, whatever, you got to looking around on YouTube, stumbled across some crazy old guy like me, watched some videos, and now you're so sick, you're so insane, you're actually listening to something he calls a radio show on YouTube. And so maybe you've not really even thought much about it, and you have to. You have to. If you have a gun, if you're thinking about buying a gun, you need to be politically active to a point. You really do, because 3 years ago, maybe if you didn't own a firearm, you didn't find any of these laws really encroaching on you. And the things that some of the politicians in your state or your country were proposing, they didn't necessarily slap you upside the head like they would now. And like hopefully they do now. Hopefully they do slap you upside the head and wake you up. So anyway, you don't need to spend your entire day worrying about that kind of thing, but you do need to be aware of it and make your opinions known to your politicians. If you're going to be a gun owner, if you're going to be a shooter, you are in the fray. You can't escape it. You cannot escape it totally, because there are, believe it or not, that cool little Smith & Wesson M&P you just bought and you love so much and you enjoy taking to the range, and I'm glad you do. There are a lot of people, if you didn't know it by now, in Washington and maybe your state capital, who don't really think you deserve to own that. They'd rather you did not own that, and they're proposing laws constantly to keep you from owning that or buying ammunition for it. So if you didn't know that, come on now, get wise, because they're out there. So anyway, let's stay politically active and represent ourselves well. Just every chance you get. The battle actually is easier now than it was 20, 30 years ago in some ways, because, the internet and because there's more of us. There really are. There's very few places where you, I think now, have to kind of sneak the words out of your mouth that, I shoot. Because I know in the 70s and the 80s even, I never did make too many bones about it. I've always been a shooter and didn't really care if people liked it or not, or understood it or not. I've always tried to treat it like golf, because that's the way it's been for me. And nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. Yeah, I shoot. Talk about what I shoot and where I go shoot and all that kind of thing. But there are some circles where it's not easy to do that, I realize. And but it's easier now. I think there's just way more people. My gosh, now you bring up the fact that you shoot, and instead of, I don't know where you might be, but say you're in a group of 7 or 8, 10 people, instead of most of them rolling their eyes, now you get swamped with questions. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I just got a gun. Or I'm thinking about my carry permit. Or, yeah, I got my carry permit. It starts a conversation now about firearms. Now, you'll still have a couple people in that group that will maybe roll their eyes. And maybe they roll them even bigger, because the further the conversation goes, the more they realize, oh, my God, I'm in a whole group of them. It wasn't just one wacko. So we have that in our favor now. I really do see that as a major change. Now, if you live in some parts of the country, that might not be the case, but in most of the parts of the country, that's kind of what I'm seeing, and it's good. But apparently, it's not everybody, or else some of these crazy laws would not get through. So we got to keep up the good battle there and not relax too much. It's just a shame there really are not more independent thinkers. It seems like, as I was saying, our group is bigger now, and that helps. The group where you work probably, or in your neighborhood, the group of shooters or the group of people who have firearms is larger now, I think. And that always helps, having people of like mind and all that in our club, so to speak. But isn't it a shame that we're just not more independent in our thinking, and we don't just get sucked into whatever the conventional wisdom is or thinking is within certain groups. Your group at work, or if you're in college, your group of friends in college, or classmates, or professors. I mean, you can name any group, whatever it is, and there's just this homogenous way of thinking about things, and it feeds off each other, and the people within that group are afraid to differ, from the group, and it just continues to grow. And media, of course, is responsible for some of that. That's the one thing you don't really get in media. We have what we call reality shows, but are they really reality shows? Are they like your reality or anybody you know? It's just if you watch television, it's interesting to me. I've always had a little bit of interest in the psychology of things, of advertising and in that. And I used to talk with my students about that sometimes, about how, commercials and things, they don't really lie very much. It's just that if you look at the way they say things, I used to use that as an example in studying the language. Just like, 8 out of 10 dentists surveyed recommended this if you have this problem. You get all these clauses and phrases in there. No, they're not really lying. They're just telling you the truth. 8 of the 10 dentists that we surveyed who used this said that if you have this, you have to look at all those different clauses that are in the language, but it's what's reflected on the TV and in the commercial media is really interesting, because you get some kind of trend going, whether it's a fashionable group of dress, whatever people are wearing. Think about it. If a few people start wearing certain kinds of hats or clothing or shoes or whatever, it may be fairly small, but maybe the media picks up on that and it gets some airtime. And then because of that airtime, that grows. And then because it grows, it gets more airtime, and that grows. So, I mean, it's also superficial, really. The way things get airtime and end up on TV or in commercials, and there may even be an agenda for seeing something grow like that, whether it's a fashion or it's a way of thinking. And then, of course, they try not to be offensive to anybody, and so you don't see anything that's to do the firearms or anything like that. I mean, think about how many people have firearms in this country. Whether there's supposed to be over 300,000 firearms, around 100,000 gun owners at least, and in your typical TV shows, there's no mention of firearms unless it's somebody killing somebody. There's never anybody walking through the house in a sitcom and they're on the way to the shooting range with their rifle in a scabbard, right? Or anyone who just got back from the shooting range or has been to a gun shop's been shopping for firearms. I mean, that would be kind of typical in a gigantic portion of the country, if in any TV show. But wouldn't that be a shocker, in a sitcom of some sort, if the wife comes home, "Oh, hi, honey." Husband says, "Hi, where have you been?" "Oh, I just stopped by the gun shop. Didn't we need some 357 ammo, you said? Because I know I shot the last of it at the range Sunday, didn't I?" "Oh, yes, thanks, honey. Glad you picked some up. Glad you thought of that. I meant to stop by myself." How would you like to see a conversation like that? It never happens, of course. So the media doesn't really reflect reality, and I think it's really important for young people to keep that in mind. So anyway, I got to rambling there, but media plays a big role in the way people's minds are shaped, and we have to combat that, in a lot of ways. And we do that by just being ourselves and not being afraid to bring up the subject of firearms, I guess was my point there I was going to make. In your group, whatever it is, if it's at church or if it's at school even, maybe, you got to be a little more careful there, right? Just at work even, As long as you don't want to scare anybody, you don't want to alarm anybody. And I know also there's that issue of privacy. Sometimes there are environments where you just as soon no one knows you have firearms, you know. But what I found, and of course I was in education a large part of my career. I was also in the publishing industry and some different things. I would not talk much about firearms when I started with a company or teaching at a particular school. I didn't talk much about it till people got to know me, and then after I was there for a while or years, or people that knew me, and I had established myself within that company, wherever that was, then you mention it casually, you bring it up. Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't shoot. Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna be afraid of you. Duh. Even back then, in the 70s and the 80s, and especially now, I think anybody who reacts negatively to the fact that you have a firearm, they've got a problem. That speaks more to them, doesn't it, than it does about you. So, one thing I don't think I've clued you guys in on is that I have been communicating with ammunition manufacturers, trying to get them to make more ammo for you guys. Well, no, I can't say that. That would not do much good, would it? No, I have been in communication with the major ammunition manufacturers in recent months, and over the years, especially in the last year or two, as we are barraged with people wanting us to put everything under the sun in a video, because so many of you watch our videos, right? Well, if we put everything under the sun in our videos, I mean from jewelry to ladders to, you wouldn't be watching our videos. So we don't do that. So that doesn't take a genius to figure out, but we do get a lot of that. And actually, most of it's gun related, I'll say. It's just usually nothing that we're interested in, as I was mentioning earlier. But I have, in the recent year or two, been meaning to get more serious about maybe trying to get some ammunition company to give us some ammo. We've gotten some donations here and there, but if our viewership, the size of our viewership, is worth anything, then, and apparently it is, because again, we get inundated with offers. Where are the ammo companies, And I know they can't keep up with the demand as it is, so it's a bad time to try to get any kind of ammo out of ammo companies in a lot of ways. But I have been in communication with the big boys in the ammo industry, and just letting them know that, hey guys, I don't know if you realize this, but there's a lot of people that watch the Hickok45 videos, and almost every video we are dumping out ammo and putting it in firearms and shooting it. Would you like a little exposure? Maybe? Yeah, like to the tune of hundreds of thousands of people seeing us use your ammo? So that is the one thing that obviously it's a staple. Ammo and firearms. Imagine that. So we love to get firearms from manufacturers or viewers. We get them wherever we can to bring to you. And it would be nice to get some ammo, So anyway, just to let you know, we think we do maybe have somebody who is going to furnish us some significant amounts of ammunition, and we're very pleased with that. It helped cut our costs down some on the production of what we're doing. But so that it's been a long time coming, and you get right down to it, they should have been contacting us. Not to sound arrogant or anything, but my gosh. But anyway, we're pleased with that. We're very grateful. I know you'll be grateful. I might even get to shoot more sometimes, and maybe have ammo that I didn't have before. And in the last probably year or two, we still shoot a lot. I know, even in the videos, but there are times when it just depends on what we're firing, where we just don't have that much 9mm or couldn't get the bullet weights I wanted, or 308, and some of the calibers are just so expensive that maybe we don't shoot quite as much as we normally would or have in the past sometimes, So anyway, that's gonna help, I think, and we'll see how that goes, and appreciate some help. I won't say too much about it now, but it looks like we're going to get a little help in the ammo world there. Looking forward to that. It'll be sporadic because we have videos that we've done already, and not that kind of thing. But as we move through the spring and summer, I think you'll see what's going on there, and then we're going to get a little help. What y'all think about that Colt AR-10? That's a pretty interesting AR, isn't it? I was not aware really of that firearm before the gun shop called. Speaking of people lending guns and things, we get firearms from a number of sources. I mean, really, all over the place. And it's nice because a lot of it's from calls. People contact us, and if it's a firearm that sounds interesting, looks interesting, that I think you might be interested in, we'll usually work out a way to get a hold of it. But that's John and I enjoyed that. John really liked it. In some ways, he's harder to please. He's more opinionated, I think, in some ways than I am about firearms and certain firearms. But he really liked that, and I did too. I didn't have it long enough to do a side-by-side with the SCAR 17, in terms of recoil and impulse and all that kind of thing. I don't think it was quite as soft a shooter as the SCAR 17, but it is a nice shooter, and I think it probably fits a niche or it would fit a niche for some people, particularly maybe somebody who, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe they don't even have an AR yet, and they want to start with a 308. And they know eventually they'll get a 5.56, but they want a really nice AR-10. That's just top on their list or something. Well, maybe that's a consideration, even though it's expensive, around $2,500, I think. And then they can get some kind of AR, or just buy an upper 5.56. Not even buy an AR if they don't want to. Just get the upper and then pop it onto that. So then maybe it seems a little less expensive. But you'd still have about $3,000 in essentially two different firearms, you could say. But that was pretty nice. And when I first got it and saw how it worked, I thought, okay, yeah, this is interesting. I guess it will work with this adapter and everything. But I don't know. I've got a little bit of a mental block against things like that. These conversion things. Okay, let's, put the A bolt here and this and that and that. Okay, I can see how this will probably work, or they wouldn't sell it. But let's see how difficult it is to convert over, and how long it takes, and how complicated it is. Is it some little flimsy piece that's going to break that converts it? What the heck is the deal here? It's going to be really goofy. I can just have a feeling. But I was pleasantly surprised. Took it apart and saw how it worked, and converted it a few times. It's very simple. It works. There's no stress on any of those conversion parts or anything. It's not like it makes it fragile or anything. It just makes it fit together, and pretty simple. As I say in the video, it's not something you do on the run, but it works. And the only downside is when you're in AR-15 mode, 5.56 mode, is you have a larger mag well there on the outside. I mean, the mag well is the same on the inside because of the adapter, but you have an AR that has looks like the mag well is maybe on steroids a little bit there or something. Other than that, you just got your regular AR-15. So that's pretty neat. It worked. Didn't have any hang-ups with malfunctions. I mean, no problems at all, either in the 308 mode or the 5.56. I know that's not something there's a large market for, but we look at several firearms and like that. I find firearms interesting, almost whatever niche they fit into, if they are, I guess, quality firearms or they're interesting firearms. Like the Sphinx I was talking about earlier, that is a fascinating pistol. I just love it. Boy, if you could pull the trigger on it and hold it, because they're based on the CZ clone. Here I am back rambling and off track again, but that Sphinx pistol, that competition model, the 3000 it was called, it sells for about $3,000. But it's based on the CZ clone. That's what they copied, the Sphinx line did. And they basically improved the CZ 75. And it feels like a CZ 75, but yet it's, oh man, precision machine, trigger unbelievable, great fit and all that. So that's not a gun I'm probably going to go purchase, and probably none of you, hardly any of you would, but it's just an interesting firearm. And so we'll continue to bring things like that to you if it's interesting. I don't really see myself as reviewing firearms that only people are about ready to run out and make decisions on. I mean, that's part of it. That's a lot of it. The firearms we all like and we see in the shops and everything, because those are the ones we're going to have most often. But I think it's kind of neat to work with some of these more unusual firearms. Although, that said, I've never been one that has been all that interested in some of the really strange firearms that were made. I mean, there are people that eat that stuff up. They'll read all the books on them, or they'll have a book on unusual firearms of the Civil War era. Maybe 10 different pistols or rifles that some company made 10 of, and just get fascinated by how it operated and how it worked. But it was never a firearm that anybody saw hardly, or that anybody even knows about unless you study up on it. And there's a reason why it didn't make it. But I just not been as interested in those aberrations, I guess you'd call it. But if it's a firearm that is from a reputable company, and even if it is maybe at the high end, kind of an expensive gun, or maybe it's a special purpose gun that Colt makes or Sig makes or somebody, kind of interesting. Might not buy it, maybe can't afford it, but interesting to look at if somebody lends it. Kind of like some of the full auto stuff we do. I don't, as big a gun nut, quote unquote, as I am, you'd think I'd have some full auto stuff or some suppressors, and I really don't. I like that stuff okay. But I like to bring it to you when we can, occasionally, because it's interesting stuff. But it's not something that most of you are going to run out and buy. Even I don't run out and buy it. It's interesting to shoot. Sometimes the history of it's interesting. Even an MP5, that was fun, bringing you the MP5 or the Uzi. Those firearms really have their place in history, military history, and around law enforcement history, civilian history, whatever. So successful firearms, proven, reliable firearms that are select fire are kind of cool. Thompson, whatever it might be, even if it's nothing I'm necessarily interested in purchasing. So we'll continue to do some of that, and who knows what else we'll do. Like I say, we get offered various firearms locally. I was going through my list the other day, looking at some things. Occasionally, we're so long getting back around to it, I won't be able to even reach the person. There was somebody who had a SVT40. They offered us, and I saved their name or their file, their username on YouTube. And I remember writing them about a month ago, asking if they still had that firearm they were willing to lend. I never did hear back. So some people may even lose their YouTube account by the time I get back to them. But we have some firearms like that I want to get back in touch with and bring to you this summer. So what else was I going to yak at before I shut up and let you go on your way? Well, like I said, I'm having trouble keeping up with the communications. We're really at that point where it's difficult. If you send me a message on either YouTube or Facebook, I don't know. I guess just be surprised if you get an answer, and if you don't, and it's something like you really consider it important, maybe write me again, and in a week or two or something. But and then I do read them. It doesn't mean I didn't read it if I don't answer it. I can't answer everything. And so if you're asking, hey, have you done a video on something? If there's any, I have to be more hardcore now. I've got to be mean. If it's a question that's answered in the FAQs, especially, obviously those are the ones that I will skip. If it's a recommendation to do a video, I don't answer those. I make a mental note, something you'd like to see, all that kind of thing. So, but I'm able to read them pretty well. Skim through and read them all, and then answer a lot of them too. But just be aware of that, and keep it short, keep it very clear, right to the point. So I'll know whether it's something I need to answer or can answer. And just remember all the FAQ videos. I don't answer problems with your gun, gunsmithing, all that sort of thing, and review those FAQ videos. And I think they're about all in a playlist. And it has in the title of the FAQ video what that FAQ video is about. And so you can just skim through that list and see, there looks like there's an answer about how far the 80-yard gong is, or how whether he's sponsored by Carhartt, or whatever it might be, because it's in the title of the FAQ videos once you get to that playlist. So it's an easy answer. Think about it. Just put yourself in my place, how you would do it. You would, if there's, 30 questions, when you pop in there and, you only can answer 4 or 5 of them, then the ones you're going to leave are the ones that have questions that, the answer is a click away on Google, or it's already in an FAQ video, or it's something, if you've seen even 20 of our videos, you would know that. So those are the kinds of things. I know that as you watch the videos, that answer will come pretty soon, or just whatever. So just be aware of that. It's not that I'm rude. Well, yeah, I am. No, it's not that I'm just blowing anybody off. It's just literally almost impossible to answer everything now, and still do what we need to do. I don't want to get to the point where it takes away from even making videos or thinking about videos. And I'm finding that happening some, where I'm spending so much of the day with my face in the computer that I'm not thinking about what we're going to be doing next. Or contacting somebody about a firearm they offered a month ago, or whatever it might be that you would like to see. I think you'd like to see. So it's just an unavoidable problem. I mean, there's just no easy way around it. Just a lot of you folks out there, and we're glad you're there. I just can't give each one of you personal attention. Wish I could. Wish I could invite each and every one of you to the range. Meet every one of you. So, but it's just the way it is. I wish I could do something about it, but I can't. We are going to be doing some meet and greets. So stay tuned for those, particularly if you live in the area, Tennessee, Kentucky, because I do see a lot of you at gun shows and things, NRA convention, Knob Creek, and that kind of thing. It's nice to meet you all, but I have so many people that want to come to the compound. Of course, we have an FAQ video on that, don't we? But it's not that I don't want to meet you. It's just I don't land in one place very often, and I've been meaning to do this for a while. And so when we do them, I hope somebody shows up so I don't feel stupid sitting in a gun shop somewhere for a couple hours. People walking in say, who's that big ugly guy sitting over there in the chair? Is he your security or something? Bodyguard? No, we're going to do that in some gun shops in Tennessee and Kentucky, and we'll let you know. We've already got one scheduled. We'll be letting you know about over in more of the eastern Kentucky area. And one kind of schedule in the eastern Tennessee area. So we're going to be maybe doing one here locally, and then maybe one, I don't know, somewhere up in the western area of Kentucky. I don't know, need to talk to some gun shops up in that area. And because we have a lot of viewers in Kentucky. I know I make fun of Kentuckians because I'm from Kentucky, but we really have a lot of viewers in Kentucky. And because I can't go into Kentucky into a shop or something, I don't run into you guys. And so I'd like to land somewhere up there and just meet more of you. You know, just shake your hand. You know, don't have any prizes, I'm sorry, to hand out or anything, but or any money to hand out or anything like that. But be glad to meet you and talk about firearms. How's that? So we'll be doing some of those. Watch out for that, and so you'll know what places to avoid, so you don't have to see me, right? So I'm going to shut up, I guess. I think my rambling, I need more practice at rambling. I don't think I rambled very well today, but or maybe I rambled too well. But we will talk to you later, and in the meantime, I hope you get a chance to shoot, even though it might be cold where you are. And I hope you do what you can for the cause. Remember, you represent, if people know you have firearms, as I was alluding, or as I was discussing earlier, that's a good thing generally. But because they know you're a shooter, remember, you, in a way, you represent the shooting community. Just like, you know, we all represent our family, we represent our school, we represent our state, our community. Whether we like it or not, we do. Our race, our religion, or whatever, we just represent what we represent and the groups we're a part of. And if you are a shooter, then you are part of a group, and a lot of people know it. And so you, in a way, are representing the shooting community when you're just about town. People who know you, know of you, and that's important to represent the shooters in the right way. You're not somebody that people are afraid of, you know. That's somebody that's reckless. Shooting brings a need for responsibility. You know, as we all know, if you're a firearms enthusiast, there's a certain level of responsibility that hopefully you have. You know, if you're a shooter and you have guns, you know, they just demand that, don't they? And you want to represent the community well, wherever you are, and also online. You know, it's a shame that there are goofballs online on the internet. You know, imagine that. The internet is full of goofballs, isn't it? And trolls and idiots and, you know, classless people and everything else. That's just part of the world, because everybody has an internet connection and everybody's not that civilized. And I guess by and large, within the shooting community, I think especially on the internet, on our channel and a lot of other channels, I think the level of civilization is there. You've got a lot of really good people, you can tell. And it's the same on the forums. Obviously, you're going to have that small percentage of trolls and idiots, troublemakers. They're going to be there, no doubt about it. But on the internet, even though it's anonymous, and of course that's why you have those keyboard warriors, don't you? Those tough guy keyboard warriors, as I call them. That's why they're there, because they're anonymous. But even though they're anonymous, it still makes it's still a negative reflection on the shooting community, isn't it? So just be aware of that. Whenever you post on a shooting video, you're representing the shooting community. If somebody you must be interested in firearms. If you're hanging out, you know, watching shooting videos and firearms videos, and you're making comments, so you are a part of the shooting community. And you know, people see that. New shooters, experienced shooters, everybody, and then sometimes people just wander in, thinking they might get into firearms. I don't know. So, you know, we're always representing, you know, the shooting community, and whether or not we are a group of people who have some class about us, I guess is what I'm getting at. And the vast majority of us, I think, do. And it's a shame that, you know, we have a few people sneak in who don't, who are suffering from whatever, problems they might have, envy, just the usual personality issues that you you see with some of your coworkers or family members or anybody else, right? We always have that crazy uncle that nobody likes, right? That would be me and my family. I'm that crazy uncle nobody likes. So anyway, let's represent ourselves well. And one way you could represent yourself well is by not rambling like I do, because people might think you're insane or you're totally stupid, right? So try not to do that. Don't copy me on that. I'll do all the rambling for you, okay? So hopefully you're not new to the radio shows and you sort of understand how they go. It's just me with my meager brain yakking at my little recorder here, pretending I'm talking to a lot of people, okay? So it's for the loyal people, the people who understand me, the people who don't expect much in the way of intelligence, okay? So if you wandered in by mistake, you don't have to come back to the radio shows. Not required listening. The videos are required viewing. The radio shows are not required listening, okay? They're not required viewing either, unless you just want to sit and stare at whatever picture John has selected for this edition. All right, I'm getting silly, so I'll let you go. Appreciate you guys more than you know watching the videos and continuing to come back. And for all you new subscribers, the growth is still extremely strong. Every day, just tons of new subscribers. So it just continues to grow. So we appreciate it, and we welcome all you new people. Don't get turned off. Hopefully this is not the first thing you have clicked on is one of these radio shows. Wouldn't that be scary? Think about that. If this is the first video, quote unquote, that you clicked on and you listen to the whole thing, you probably never go back and look at a video. But anyway, appreciate you all tuning in and watching the videos and helping me police the videos. And there's my wife calling. I'm in trouble. Yeah, actually, it was my wife. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I know what I was saying. Yeah, thanks for helping me police the channel, the comments and all that. If you see somebody acting up, let them know. Let them know how they are not representing the shooting community well. Maybe throw just a tinge of guilt into them. Maybe they'll clean it up a little bit. I don't know. I always assume if somebody is a real smart aleck, they leave a really smart aleck remark, they're going to come back and do it again. We usually delete and block them. Just go away. Go somewhere else. Bother somebody else. You're just really not. You're just creating a bad image for shooters. And any way you all can help with that, let people know, because I don't see everything, of course. And I still have not figured out Google Plus, the weirdness of all this now. There'll be a comment, I'll see a comment come through an email or something, and I'll go look for that comment, and it's not there, and it must be somewhere over on Google Plus or somewhere, I don't know. It's weird, and it looks like it takes almost nothing, as I've said it before, for things to get spammed out. It's just automatic now. And it looks like people would learn here that if you put a link of any kind in a video or a video comment, it's going to be spammed out. It's just automatic now. So the spam filter is really strong there, which is good in a way, because again, when you have a big audience, you get everybody trying to advertise, and you're in the comment section, that gets a little weary. But so anyway, anything you can do there, I appreciate the help. I mean, there's going to come a day here when I'm just going to do like a lot of the other large channels. It's just going to have to run itself, I guess, because it's just no time to do it all. But I'm still trying to keep up with it as best I can, and with your help, I'm sure I can do it. And I appreciate y'all, and I hope y'all have a great week. Get some shooting in. Life will be really good if you can get some shooting in. You've been listening to the Hickok45 radio show. See you on the range.